What up, everyone? This is Mr. Lord Dr. Professor Dark Joker here with another edition of Traditional Fans with Opinions, where I'll give my reviews for whoever I watched, read, or played today. And who are traditional fans with opinions? That is myself, and that is you, the viewers. With all that being said, on with the reviews. Kurumizawa's Folly, Chapter 16. So in this chapter, Kurumizawa has basically tied up Hada and Yoshikawa, and like basically, and he tells them that if they just stay there for 10 days, you know, that hit that basically he'll let them go. He says he claims he doesn't want to harm them. So Yoshikawa thinks about what to do, like if she doesn't show up to her shift, then Sagara would probably get suspicious, and especially since they know that she's hanging out with Hada, so I probably think that she's trying to date him. Yeah, of course. And Yoshikawa's concern is wondering if Kurumizawa is being faithful to his word. And Kurumizawa gives Hada some food because he says he doesn't want him to die. And Hada says he knew about what that Bilal was that Kurumizawa was publishing Bilal under his name. And he figured out that Hada was that he was just a ghostwriter. And Hada says he still wants to draw for him. He wants to to make it, and he says, "Look, that won't happen unless Yoshikawa is removed." Well, Yoshikawa is like basically like if she's freed. Fumizawa says that he thinks that's a lie. That if Hada noticed that he was just a ghost, he was being used as a ghostwriter. And he says it doesn't make sense that Hada would want to continue as is. And Kurosawa says that that they saw the bones, and he says it's kind of insane that Hada would want to stay after that. And he says that basically that Hada's got to basically do better at trying to get him to convince him to let him go. And then Hojima, and then Arise. Basically, the deadline's coming up for the next chapter of Bilal. Kurumizawa holds a knife to Yoshikawa's neck. Kojima sees the he's right? So he walks in. Kojima walks in, and then Kurumizawa Kojima sees Yoshikawa and Hada tied up, and Kurumizawa holds a knife to Yoshikawa's neck, and then yeah, then he sees the knife, and then he's like and then Kurumizawa tells Kojima to. He's like, it's too much trouble to watch two people once. He's asking for help. And Kojima is mad. He asked if Kuromizawa did this because they learned about the Ghost Rider. And Kuromizawa says, that that he did. That he doesn't. That Kojima probably wouldn't want this coming out either. And 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 basically Kojima says that he doesn't want if the public finds out, yeah, his career is done. But he's not going to resort to actual crime to keep it up. Kuromizawa threatens to cut off her Yoshikawa's fingers, and then now as you see now Kojima can't just walk out the door. And Kojima says, that Kurumizawa's life is over when if he actually goes through with all this. And Kurumizawa says that as long as the next 10 days pass, he doesn't care what happens. And Kojima's thinking that Kurumizawa's insane. He's wondering what's actually going on. And then yeah, and Kurumizawa says that he needs Kojima to stay there and watch Hada, and that he's taking Yoshikawa with her, like with him. And he says basically tells Kojima not to do anything and Hada not to do anything suspicious. And Kurumizawa asks for Yoshikawa to forget anything he says on the phone. And obviously Kurumizawa is making a phone call about Michan. Something about transfusion easing her suffering. Yeah, and then yeah, so Kurosawa sees Kojo there with some text on the ground saying "escape out the top window." And, Kurosawa says don't do anything funny, but that he warned them. Then Kojima swings his suitcase at him, and the knife penetrates and basically the knife falls out of Kurosawa's hands and penetrates the suitcase. And Kojima helps Yoshikawa escape. And Kurosawa knocks out Kojima. And Kurosawa wants to find Hada, and then Hada enters in, and he gets up to Kojima. Basically, like so, Hada arrives. He's trying to help get all the stuff off, so help them escape. So it's like Kojima's knocked out, so Hada's carrying Kojima. Yoshikawa's running. They're trying to run out the door, and then Hada is tripped by Kurumizawa, falls to the ground. So it looks like, yeah, it did some picking up. Like, looks like we're probably at the climax of this series. Like, it is probably about to come to an end soon. I mean, I have a few guesses on what's going to happen. Like, I think that what's going to happen is that, like, so, like, then, yeah. I think like I think we're gonna get flashbacks soon regarding the context behind the bones. I think that is happening. A flashback is happening, and so yeah. So that I'm curious regarding yeah I'm curious about what's going on with like how this a flashback, because I think there is a flashback coming, and then obviously Michan's about to die. Yeah, and that is yeah, dude. Like holy frick. And yeah, dude, this is insane what's going on. So yeah. So I didn't expect it to start with the meat. I thought it would like go right after the bones and like Kuromizawa would actually explain what happened with the bones. But that thing's happening. So yeah, yeah, this is this is insane. Like what's about to happen. I think this is a good chapter. Like what they're leading up to. Looking forward to the next one. Fire Force season 3, episode 22. So in this episode, so obviously Arthur's like missing because he's in space. I mean, as far as the Fire Force is concerned, he's missing. I mean, he's dead. So like so the Great Cataclysm stopped, and then so you have different doppelgangers appear. So Benimaru fights his doppelganger and beats it, and then yeah, so and then and yeah, so Sho kills Fairy, and yeah, so then like so the moon's starting to collapse, falling towards the earth. Shinra frees himself and he stops it. He stops the moon from falling. And the world is starting to look more like the Soul Eater world, which is supposed to happen. I mean, because this is a prequel to Soul Eater, which I really hope gets a remake. And yeah, dude. So then like Shinra and Sho go through like will pull over towards Adela. And so in Adela began the episode, so Iris is talking to Amaterasu. So it's officially revealed that Iris is the doppelganger of Amaterasu. And like it's when doppelgangers um like instincts is to kill the original and take it over. So it's kind of like like having to Burns his documentary. Now Burns he kind of returns by merging with his doppelganger. And yeah, so and it's it's funny how when Benimar when he defeats the doppelganger, he's kind of annoyed about how weak it was. That bit was funny. So Shinra and Sho are about to fight Hamiya. Like basically the final fight's about to happen. I have read the manga up through like I think the end of the fight. Cause I mean on K manga, like what I've been able to read using the the tile tickets, whatever. I have read up to like shortly after this fight's done, and it's a cool fight. It's gonna be interesting to see what happens. Like, I mean, with what all happens in this, like, it is insane. So yeah, so bunch of stuff's going down. So yeah, I thought this was a really good episode. Looking forward to the next one. The Hunting Party, Season 2, Episode 7. So in this episode, show Shane learns that Lazarus is his mother. And so now the serial killer in this episode is Sidney Fairfax. Basically, he had killed like 9 people in Boswell. Now, he was never caught officially. So officially, the case was never solved as far as the public was concerned, but the people who run the pit basically figured it out, faked his death, and took him to the pit. And basically explained that, part of the reason is because not only was he an inmate, he was also, an operating doctor there. Like, he was actually doing tests on the prisoners there with Dr. Dulles. Like, basically, Fairfax had an opinion that all serial killers had, like, a specific, like, there's something with their brain, like how their brain works. Like he believed all had like people who have like their brains are biologically a certain way, like how serial killers are. That basically can predict, I guess, like the violent behavior for some people. And so he's Fairfax was like basically a child prodigy where he basically doesn't see what he's doing as evil. He sees his research and trying to get better humanity, whatever. The guy's freaking insane. And so and and then during this investigation they have to find some of Dr. Dulles. Shane tells him that all of Dulles' notes are in his apartment, and he explains someone with because he was trying to find his mother, and basically Bex and Hassani revealed that they knew that Lazarus was his mother. They didn't want to tell him that, so they all got to deal with that. And Shane is abducted by Fairfax and tortured. Now, when Shane was a kid, there were tests done on him because of who his mother was. So Dulles and Fairfax did some tests, and I guess Fairfax, I guess, considered Shane to be like, I guess, a perfect specimen or something, whatever. So and Shane was in the military, and basically Shane says when he's killed people, it was in the line of duty, and Fairfax is like, and Shane was like, it's different than just straight up murdering people, which is true. There's a difference in the context of. And Fairfax, like, oh, you may say it's the same, but it's really not. You're just violent, and like it is definitely insane. So and Bex gets Lazarus to help her find Shane, and they find and Lazarus says where secret room that Fairfax had is at, and that's where they find Shane and save him and deal with Fairfax. So yeah, I and then after the case is done, Lazarus has Bex meet her, and Lazarus says that she doesn't. She's like she's not making excuses for all her murders, but she claims that it started due to like her being bullied, I guess, when she was in high school. That's what led to her killings. And then yeah, so and then yeah, and then like basically so and yeah, then like so like basically it says that she's cured, that she claims to be cured of like her sociopathic tendencies, her murderous tendencies. When Bex comes back to like the team, she says that Lazarus is probably the most dangerous sociopath that she's ever met, and that they need to be ready to stop her. Yeah, understandable. I wouldn't. I mean, here's the thing: she's a freaking serial killer. She was allowed to basically become a colonel of the United States military. I mean, that's freaking insane. I mean, and yeah, look, I don't feel sympathy for that. It was like yeah, it sucks she was bullied. See, she's a freaking serial killer. She was put in the pit for a reason. Honestly, like some of the people in the pit like probably should like I mean, gosh, I mean, why anyone from the pit would even ever be allowed outside makes no sense. But yeah, so because it was interesting. So yeah, how Dr. Dulles believed that the environment that person lived in shaped the person, and like if they were going to become a killer or whatever. And Fairfax believed it was due to the brain, and that's why he did all his tests. So it was interesting. So you see that how they worked together in the pit, but they had different views on it, and I guess they were trying to prove the other like which one was right. So I thought it was interesting. Obviously more with Lazarus is probably about to come up. So yeah, I thought it was a good episode. Looking forward to the next one. Frieren Beyond Journey's End, Season 2, Episode 8. So in this episode, the fights against the demons end. So Stark and Gnall fight, you know, Revolt, and basically they struggle. They get Stark and Gnall get slashed up a lot. Like they get really hurt. Like it's surprised they survived. And like so, but they're able to eventually break Revolt's weapons and allows them to get openings to where they can. Now, even though Revolt can still fight without his weapons, they're able to get openings where they're able to kill Revolt. And Frieren, Method, and Fern do their they're fighting the demons. They're fighting, and they're able to you know kill the demons. And it's revealed that Method was part of, I guess, a clan that hunted demons a lot in the north. And yeah, so and then Method, after the mission, so the demons are dead. So Method offers to join Frieren's party. Frieren says no, that because they're trying to keep the priest spot open for a sign. And then so Method and Gnall have to escort, I guess, the bodies to like the dead human bodies to be buried. And so Frieren, Fern, and Stark leave, continue on their journey. So yeah, I thought this was a really good episode. The fights were freaking awesome. Like, dude, like holy frick, these were some good fights. Like these are some really good fights. So yeah, I thought this was a really good episode. Looking forward to the next one. Storm Rider, Legend of Hammerhead. So this is a post-apocalyptic movie that premiered recently. So this is supposed to start like a franchise called the Hydroverse. Like that's what is planned by the writers. Now, this is basically a standalone movie still. It's still standalone. Like it has a beginning, middle, and it doesn't like just have a giant cliffhanger that won't get fulfilled or anything. Even though it's supposed to be part of a franchise called the Hydroverse, it's still standalone. So in this there was a flood that happened. So basically it's 300 years after this flood, you know, basically the entire Earth was flooded. So you see some current day stuff buried in the water. And so the Earth's like the Earth, like what's left of it, there's just a few islands now. So kind of like how One Piece is currently, where you have just bunch of islands. You don't have full continents, whatever. Now, what's left of humanity, or at least as far as we know, I mean, if they're trying to do a whole franchise, possible, they might be other survivors out there. So, what's left of humanity lives on these islands, and there's this electrical storm that separates the islands from the rest of the world. And so the big sanctuary from the storm is Argos, which is a city-state ruled by these leaders called the Founders. The Founders so they're immortal because they drink this substance called the Element that comes out of trees, believed associated with the original locals is goddess Gaia. And so yeah, so what else happens then? So you have the main character is Neb, and you have his you know you have so Neb and his friend Anna. So basically that's like his love interest. So Anna's father was a storm rider. Take part in a race, whichever island's representative wins, basically. the island become the residents become part of Argos, and whoever gets last place, basically, they're evacuated to like they're forced to leave their island, and their island is strip mined for the element, so the founders could stay immortal. That's essentially how it works. And the Anna's father tries to go into the storm in order to see what's on the outside of it, dies, and basically no one's allowed to go into the storm. Basically, seen as treason. Fig Island, which is the island that Dev is from, is banned from taking part in the races for 10 years. So, so during this time, you have as a kid, yeah. So as a kid, Deb so Deb and Anna were fans of the Legends of Hammerhead, basically. So a storm rider from years ago who allegedly went beyond the storm to see what was on the other side, and basically like it's legends that are spread out. So yeah, and a lot of the heads in space are inspired by the Legend of Hammerhead. Hence there in the movie. So, and part of the story is that Hammerhead was struck by was struck by lightning or whatever. So Neb tries to, he wants to be like Hammerhead, so he lets himself get struck by lightning. Now he's deathly, he's close to death, so. His grandfather, um, his grandfather who has a lot of knowledge about the past, his name is Dita. So he takes some fluid from the tree, basically it's the element, puts it on, gives it to Ned to help him heal. And that allows Ned to not only heal but also see visions of the past and future. So he sees visions of Hammerhead, sees visions. He has trouble understanding them. Dia tries to help him out with some things. So, when Neb and Anna grow up, they become storm riders, take part in the race. So at one point, Hammerhead's old like basically his I guess his old vessel and stuff had what the wreckage was found, and so Neb and Anna had saw it, and they're captured by and taken to the Baroness, who is one of the founders. Now she is against the policies of the one of the other founders. So the founders basically are led by Taurus. Taurus basically one of the reveals that the storm is fake, it's man made. So Taurus started the storm and trapped humanity. And so yeah, so then Baroness is basically trying I guess turned against Taurus, is trying to help Neb and Anna. And so, 10 years pass, they you know, Baroness sponsors Neb and Anna's race. Anna tries to go towards the storm. She wrecks, is seemingly killed. Then Neb is imprisoned, but he makes some allies who want to see him get past the storm. So they make a plan during the next race. So Neb basically wins the race, but then he turns around, wrecks the guy who wrecked Anna, and then he goes he then breaks in, tries to learn some secrets of the world, and sneaks to a temple. And he meets the Barons, who shows him the armor, the Hammerhead armor. Now it's revealed before us that so Ned's grandfather is actually Seikos, who he had said who Dita so Dita is Seikos. So Seikos was said to be the last Titan. Basically, Titan was just a submarine program. So Seikos was one of the founders who was fed up with the tyranny and basically became the first Hammerhead. and Baroness reveals that some of the visions that they have seen is not only of the past, like with his grandfather, but also the future with what Neb himself will do as the next Hammerhead. So Neb puts on the armor. He's helped by some of his allies and getting out, and he gets past the storm and reaches where the like where the storm is being created, and he shuts off the storm. Now, before he shuts off, so like Dita is killed by Taurus's forces. So with the storm gone, Taurus, who basically was captured, basically a coup had happened, and so Taurus like jumps off basically the wall and like kills himself. So Taurus is dead, and so it's revealed in flashback that Baroness told Neb before the last race that she had and her allies had resurrected Anna. So and she tells him where to meet her. So Neb starts heading back, and that's how the movie ends. I mean, there's like a whirlpool that forms, like in which is probably meant to be a tease for I guess the like a second movie, but it still has a satisfying conclusion. So I thought this was actually a decent movie. So the dialogue makes it sound like it's more of like a fantasy movie. Like that is just how it comes. It comes across. Dialogue sounds like it's more of like a fantasy movie. Like sci-fi, it can be very formal, but there's a certain style of formal. Like the way this comes across, it sounds like it's very like a fantasy type dialogue. Like basic kind of dialogue you see and stuff, like Game of Thrones, Lord of the Rings, that kind of formality in regards to speech. It's kind of weird seeing a sci-fi type thing, but it still worked fine. And the world seems interesting. I'm interested in seeing more about this. If this becomes a franchise, I don't know because I don't know how well this is gonna do. Like I don't think there's been a lot of marketing for it. So yeah, I mean like I don't know what the budget is. So if it doesn't do well, I guess that franchise won't really happen. But I thought it was a good movie, so I'm interested in seeing what other sequels and spin-offs could be out there because this could be an interesting franchise. Well, that's it. Did y'all like the stuff I reviewed? And if you have your own opinions about all that, you put all that in the comments. Thank you for watching, and like, subscribe, and all that. And look forward to the next video.